obey the timer for a time. Don't be a slave to it, but like just, a month or a few weeks, that I feel like it just helps you get in a good frame of mind to remember like, oh, look how much I can accomplish. And it's not the end of the world. Like this isn't the end all be all of like who I am. This is my self-worth isn't bound up in this. It's just a pile over there and I'll take care of it on another declutter session sometime.
So welcome to the Simplified Organization podcast, 15-minute conversations with real moms about managing our homes and family life cheerfully to the glory of God. We can actually enjoy housework and love being homemakers when we focus on truth and work with gratitude. I'm Mystie Winckler, homemaker for 22 years, homeschool mom of 5 with 2 graduates now, and author of the book Simplified Organization, Learn to Love What Must Be Done. I write and podcast at Simply Convivial, and I run Convivial Circle, a community helping women to excel at homemaking and do life cheerfully. And today I'm joined by one of our members of Convivial Circle, Erika McCartney. Erika grew up in the Midwest, graduated from a small school in the South with a bachelor's degree in psychology, and met her husband of 13 years in Boise, Idaho. They now live in Southeast Pennsylvania for 11 years and have 3 daughters, 12, 10, and 2. She homeschools her older 2 girls and is involved in a local co-op and her local church. She likes to be creative with writing, watercolors, knitting, making things pretty, being outside, being with friends, and reading good books. So thank you so much for joining me today, Erika.
Thanks for having me. I've been listening for a really long time, actually, so it's fun to be a part of it.
You've kind of been all over the U.S. there.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is. It's been fun to see all the different places and kind of have a feel for different areas. I've not been in the Southwest much yet, so maybe I'll do that someday.
So you just finished your first time through community coaching, which is our signature program in Convivial Circle. It's 3 courses together: organize your attitudes, streamline your homemaking, and work your plan. So as someone who was listening for a long time and just like dived in, I'd be curious to hear what you were expecting when you started, and then how that matched with reality, like what the program was actually like versus what you were expecting.
Yeah, so I started listening, I think, in 2015. So I listened for like a long time and read, but mostly listened. And I'd been doing the things, and I'd listen to like your YouTube events and things like that. And I was like, I've got this. I'm pretty good, but like I just sort of felt like there was something more I needed, but I didn't know exactly what it was. I just knew that like I kept kind of hitting a wall in different places and I wasn't doing as much as I thought I could, but I didn't know how. And I think some of the first things that really got me was I'm like, oh, like she's serious about this attitude thing, like a lot. Like I heard you say it all the time, like, yeah. I need to focus on my attitude. But I didn't realize how I was just kind of scratching the surface, I think. And so, and all the habit statements, I was really like, oh man, another habit statement. Wow, and at first it was like kind of like drinking through a fire hydrant, but in a good way. And, it really, I still have some of my habit statements from when I started last year around, and I still read them. I guess I was so surprised. Like, no, really, it is mostly first my attitude. Like all the other things, they come, but like the more I sort of clear out the clutter in my head, the more able and more energized I am to do the house stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the family stuff and the homeschool stuff and all that.
Yeah, I know. Part of me is like, well, I'm a writing teacher, so I'm going to have you write.
Yeah. Well, I love to write, so it works for me.
Well, and it's a way to like actually figure out what you're thinking and like put intentional thoughts in your head. I think we get stuck in our heads so much, and writing is such a efficient, like effective way to kind of get out of your head.
Yeah, it's concrete. And I was telling my husband last night, because we think differently. We have very, very different personalities, and he just can think in his head and categorize, and that's it, and it's fine. But me, I was telling him, I'm like, I don't often really know all the way what I'm thinking until I write it down. I often surprise myself. I'm like, oh, that's in there. Oh, I think that. I didn't even realize I did think that. But what's been really nice about the exercise of all that writing is that when I write it down, it's like that practice starts to help me be able to think on the fly more. I
Mm.
mean, I do all the habit statements. I do a lot of the brain dumps, and I feel like that's a good practice. It's like keeping the knives sharp or something, like
Yeah.
I'm maintaining. But when I do, like each time I do, I feel like I can more and more course correct on the fly, and I don't have to like sit down and do massive brain dumps like I used to have to do. I still do them, but just not like it's not emergency like, oh gosh, I'm overwhelmed today. Everyone stop everything. Kids, get on the tablet or go outside. I need 20 minutes to brain dump all my thoughts so that I can do the rest of today. That doesn't happen, I don't think, very much anymore. Anyway, usually it's planned. Usually, it's like during my weekly review or something.
Oh, that's excellent. So I know you said on your final assessment after finishing that you've been using 5 to 10 minutes to get something done and that's helped with perfectionism. So where were you noticing perfectionism? And then how did the small chunks of time, like how did those tie together?
Oh my goodness. See, I knew I was a perfectionist, but I thought it was sort of like in these like certain areas. I didn't realize when I'd even heard you say over the years, I think it was your mom or something that said you were a perfectionist and you're like, what? I'm like sitting around and I'm not doing anything. It's just because you want everything to be perfect. And that's what I didn't even, I've heard you say this, but maybe it was the processing and brain dumping for myself. I'm like, oh, I do that. Oh my gosh, like I don't want to start a project unless I can start it and do it all the way through and then end it. Like I remember last year, right before, up until the declutter challenge in February, I had kind of like my house was still a mess from when I was pregnant. My pregnancies are really rough. And the first 3 months, I'm just in bed and I can't take care of myself or the house. And so things were just, you know, I then had a new baby and I'm homeschooling and trying to do the things. So,
Hmm.
things aren't getting done. And I just thought I'm going to have to wait until the summer and I'm going to have to like get a babysitter and I'm going to have to spend a whole day overhauling the kitchen. And then I think the declutter challenge kind of overlaps with some of the things in the community coaching
Mhm.
because they blur together in my mind. And so I had a friend come over about mid-February when I'd really been practicing it, and she's like, "Wow, you've really been working. Like your house looks really good. What'd you do?" And I'm like, "Really? It does?" Because I had just been setting a timer because if I don't set a timer, I'm a perfectionist and I want to like finish the job. It's so hard for me to like let it go. So I'm like, okay, I'm really going to do this. I'm really going to just set a timer for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And I was just getting things done here and there in my day, still nursing a baby and homeschooling and doing church and stuff. And I just, I was really shocked that it had only been 2 weeks. And this is a good friend who comes over pretty frequently. She's seen my house a lot and she noticed, you know.
I just love that, well, that you have a local friend, sharing life that way and the someone else noticing is super helpful in just having our own eyes open to our situation because we can get so laser focused on what we are not doing and what we haven't
Mhm.
done that we
Yeah.
often don't notice what we have been doing.
Mhm. Well, and I think part of perfectionism too is that you just are really self-critical. And so you're automatically sort of a glass half full or not half full, half empty when it comes to yourself. I
Mhm.
mean, I still struggle with this. This is an ongoing thing I'm working at, but I do, it's so easy to get that story in your head of, "Oh, I didn't do anything,"
Yeah.
or "I didn't accomplish this, so I failed." Or, I cleaned the house and now it's messy again and I failed. I'm failing my family. I'm not doing a good job. And I don't know, just I think I think it was actually really pivotal that my friend said something to me because I could see like, oh yeah, like these little corners here and there are getting clean, but I could still see like the dust and cobwebs in the, in the corners, or the stain that's been there since my first trimester of pregnancy that I've not been able to like scrub out of the floor yet, you
Mhm.
know, that kind of thing. Because I'm not like a self encourager. I encourage other people, but I'm really hard on myself. So the 10 minutes, 5 minutes, like, and then getting that affirmation was really good.
Well, and that tells you also said that you never did overhaul everything. When you were working through community coaching, there
Mm,
was no overhaul, and yet things are different. And I think, at least myself, like when things are like when they need to be different, like we need to be doing things differently around here. I need to up my game, or I need to get things, handle things better around here. My temptation is to look for the overhaul when you were changing and like taking it in 10-minute increments and all of that. What did you notice in the like wanting an overhaul, but still noticing like, or still seeing that things were different without the overhaul?
yeah, I mean, I guess it was just like it was an energy issue too. So
Mhm.
I have like neck issues, and for a long time I was pretty sedentary, and until the last few years I've not been able to be up and moving around a lot. I've really had to monitor how much energy I have. And I still do because I'm a person, but it was more so. And what I used to do was I would go and do the overhaul, and I
Mhm.
wouldn't eat. I wouldn't stop to rest. I'd feel tired and I'd ignore my body and ignore my stomach, and I'd start to get a headache and I'd forget to drink water, and then like I'd have this huge mess that I was halfway through, and then I'd have to stop, and I would have to like lay on the couch the next day and not be able to do my normal day because I decided on a random Tuesday that I needed to organize all the kids' spring clothes and get out, like do all the Goodwill stuff. And like I think because I used to do this when I was single too, but I didn't have to suffer the consequences because I did it on my off time and I knew when I needed to be at work and things like that. But with kids and a husband, I can't do that to them on purpose. Like, of course, like I get sick or something, or I need a day where I rest. But like, I was like on purpose to like perfectly do a job, ruining my body for the next day or 3 days, and making more problems for myself. And after that comment that my friend made, I really started noticing more. Oh gosh, look at this. Oh, I can do that. When I was also just shocked that in less like in 5 minutes, I had one whole shelf of my fridge wiped out, the old food out, the old containers tossed in 5 minutes. And in my head, that was like a 15-20 minute job or something. I don't know why. And so I think that not only did I get sort of an instant gratification and I really got to see, oh, this actually is working and I am doing a good job, but also, oh man, I have energy for my life.
Mhm.
I'm not so exhausted, when I'm thinking about now, like, okay, I have this much time before, Lily wakes up from her nap. I can, instead of trying to shove like this whole huge project into that time, not knowing exactly when she might wake up. I get it done and cleaned up most of the time. I can get all the stuff decluttered. I can get the trash thrown away. I can get the surfaces wiped down and not have to worry about having a big giant mess, and also not worrying about like, oh shoot, I made this big giant mess. I'm exhausted and I have to make dinner. What am I going to do for dinner? I have like 35 minutes and I've wasted, I did all this, and now like I'm going to have hungry people and we have things to do. It just fits into life so much better, and it's so much more realistic than waiting until summer to clean your whole kitchen.
It's so true. So, what encouragement would you like to offer other perfectionist type moms who are maybe only just getting that inkling, like, oh, maybe that is my problem, who might be listening today?
If you can, I would say join Simply Convivial Circle. or whatever. I don't know exactly the official name. There are lots of titles for this, but and inside, but just the community has been so wonderful because in the world, like as much as I try to not really be on social media that much or to not be online or not pay attention, like I was immersed from birth in this stuff, and perfectionism sort of a way of our culture, and like having a sterile home and doing everything just so is like I'm constantly fed it, even if I'm just grocery shopping. There it is right next to me as I'm checking out, like, you're not perfect, Erica.
Mm-hmm.
And having ladies who are in same or similar boats, women who are like from a wide variety of backgrounds and experiences with you just get a lot of support. If one person in my life doesn't have an answer, I can go on and I can talk to people who have been there or are in it, and I'm like, oh, it's not just me. And I can get good solid wisdom, and I can try new things, and I also get to see other ladies trying new things, iterating. But also I would encourage you to set a timer. Like, this is what I've actually been doing this as a reset this month, because I do, I'm it's more natural to go into that perfectionism than it is for me to just take baby steps. And so when I do a declutter session, I'm making myself set my timer for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And I'm like intentionally, okay, for this month, I'm actually going to stop when my timer goes off. And even if I'm moving on to a different declutter, I'm stopping this one and I'm leaving it as it is. Like right before I got sick last week, and right before I did, I was clearing off the fridge because we have a new Spanish curriculum, and I got all the magnets and papers and things off to put up this chart. And the 10-minute timer stopped, and I put all the magnets and pictures and things in a pile. They're still on my countertop out of the way. But it's really freeing. Like, I know, oh, it's there. I'll get to that. That's not like, I'm okay. Whereas before I wouldn't have been okay. I would have been like, as soon as I started feeling even a little bit better, I would have gone and started organizing that and then made myself feel more sick. So yeah, like the community portion is just huge. It's so encouraging, and it helps you be accountable to good principles, and also set a timer. Obey the timer for a time. You don't be a slave to it, but like just, a month or a few weeks, that I feel like it just helps you get in a good frame of mind to remember, like, oh, look how much I can accomplish. And it's not the end of the world. Like, this isn't the end all be all of like who I am. This is my self-worth isn't bound up in this. It's just a pile over there, and I'll take care of it on another declutter session sometime,
Oh,
you know.
that's so good. That's so true. And I like that, just actually stopping when the timer goes off and doing that consistently for a while just to practice
Mm-hmm.
stopping is huge, because it's an attitude thing, but we get that
Mm-hmm.
story going, that narrative in our head that like it doesn't count unless or until. And,
Mm-hmm.
and so the timer gives us a concrete way to say it counted, count it. Like you have to
Mm-hmm.
count it and move on. And
Yeah.
and once you see that it really does count after practicing it a few times, it becomes easier.
Mm-hmm. And your mindset set it does without you even realizing, it starts to shift. Like just that habit of doing, and just something small. It
Mm-hmm.
just, I think that built up over a period of time helps. You said something recently I was reading on one of the brain dump pages, and you have like these lines for how to make your habit statement. At the bottom it says, you know, if it's, or wait, no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Hold on, what was it? I'm blending it all together. Oh no, it's on that 45-minute mom's weekly review
Oh yeah.
video.
Mhm.
You'll say at the end, it's like something about if you have a new habit you're working on, if it's 5 or 10 minutes more, or if it's more than 5 or 10 minutes, it's not going to stick. And I think that's really true. If you want it to stick, and this is just such a simple one. It really does it just checks all the boxes. It helps with your attitude. It helps you to like let go of things. It helps you to let go of, get perfectionism's grip just a little bit looser. And just it's just so good. And it's so simple, you know.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Erika. This has been a great conversation, and I hope someone who's poo-pooed the timer idea will try
Me
it.
too. Thank you so much. This has really been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Erika is right. The community inside Convivial Circle really is such a blessing. And that's why we call our signature program Community Coaching. Simplified Organization Community Coaching. It really is a group of women working together, helping one another out, supporting and encouraging one another, spurring one another on to love and good works. Simplified Organization Community Coaching is a year-long program where we work through all the areas of home management so that we organize our attitudes, streamline our homemaking, and work our plan, all to the glory of God. We don't do it so that we end up with an immaculate home with everything just so, but we do it so that we are faithful in the responsibilities that God has given us. Simplified Organization Community Coaching is included in your enrollment in Convivial Circle. So just go to simplyconvivial.com and click the Enroll button to learn more and get started with us today. Enroll in Convivial Circle and let us help you organize your attitude and make personalized plans so that you are no longer overwhelmed or frustrated by life. Make this coming school year the year that you learn to repent, rejoice, repeat.